friends, today we celebrate the 13th Sunday of the ordinary season. And today Gospel invites us to make ourselves available to God and to the activities of His kingdom. Today's readings tell us how we can make ourselves available to God and to His kingdom. They invite us to do three things. First, disengage ourselves from sin. Secondly, give first place to God in your life. And thirdly, support those who are engaged in the activities of the kingdom. Let us analyze briefly each of these expectations of Jesus. First, disengage ourselves from sin. St. Paul tells us that through baptism, we share in the death of Jesus and raised to new life. Through baptism, we die to sin and enter into a new life in spirit. We need to persevere the life of the Spirit. And secondly, we need to give the first place to God in our life. Jesus invited His followers to reflect on the three areas that often tempt men to forget God or place God in the second place. That is, love of life, love of family, and love of possession. Life is precious for everyone, and Jesus reminds us that love of one's own life should not take precedence over love of God. He explains in today's gospel that in fact one's gain for giving importance to God over life. Anyone who loses his life for my sake will find it. And thirdly, my dear friends, support those who are engaged in God's work for His kingdom, those who are working. In the reading, we see that a woman was generous in welcoming, offering food, and accommodating Elisha in her house. That is the first reading of today. She did not do it for any profit. She did what she could to support God's work. The woman was childless, and God rewarded her with a child. Dear friends, God takes notice of everything. Hence, let us pray today that we may follow in our life these three expectations of Jesus. Namely, we may disengage ourselves from sin, give first place to God in our life, and help those who do God's work and who carry out God's command and His work in this world.